Okay, sure. Yeah, started Shuttle Delivery actually from the merging of two smaller food delivery companies. I was the founder of a company called Why Not Takeout. My current partners started a company called Bird Riders Food Delivery, and we were competing with one another, from 2014 to about 2016. And then finally in 2016, we decided to merge those two companies to form Shuttle. And so we've been Shuttle since then.
I see. And I saw that before the shuttle delivery, you first began like recruiting people from like schools, and you had to like kind of in the Korean Herald Post, it said you had to kind of like beg like some people in school to like kind of help you, not beg. I think that's
Yeah, that's the thing about business is you never know what to anticipate that's going to be a real pain point. And, when we first started the business, I just assumed getting drivers was going to be the easiest part of the whole thing. I saw, a lot of different drivers driving around Korea with their scooters. And I just assumed, oh, yeah, those guys would love to come and work for us, but it was the opposite. And so we had to end up driving ourselves, and we were going to local high schools and begging the kids in front of the school to come, deliver for us. And it was definitely a challenge, and it's still a challenge to this day, actually.
Great. I actually want to go just a bit back. How did you start your food delivery business? Like, what made you choose that customer segment?
Actually, we started mainly because at that time, food delivery was really focused on uh, restaurants that already provided delivery. So think of, Chinese food that has those delivery drivers already connected to the restaurant, or think about a pizza store, Domino's that have drivers. In Korea at that time, these delivery apps they were called aggregators. So they were aggregating these restaurants that already provided delivery. And what we saw was people might want other types of food. They might want Mexican food. They might want Thai food. And no one else was really doing that at the time. So we thought, hey, this could be a really good opportunity to provide a different type of solution. And so that's kind of how we got started.
Interesting. So, what I have heard is that customers were ordering from you, and then you were ordering directly from the restaurants itself initially.
So when we first got started, it was really challenging to convince these restaurants to allow us to deliver for them. We were going there ourselves to try to convince them and say, hey, we're not a bunch of crazy guys who are, can't be trusted, and we promise we'll get your food to the customer. And, so at first, we were actually just going to the restaurants and just actually treating it like we were a huge takeout customer, meaning we'd be going to the same restaurant like 20 times a day and just saying, hey, can we pick up some more burritos or tacos? And eventually I think they start figuring out like, okay, this is actually like a proper setup business. So we could go back to them later and explain like, look, we want to make a formal relationship with you guys, and we want to build in some type of contractual agreement between us. And yeah, after a while, I think it became kind of normalized, so to speak. And so, yeah, at the beginning stage, it was challenging to get these restaurants who were not used to that sort of business model to agree to let us do it.
and your story seems very similar to like DoorDash, how they first began. Were you anyway inspired by them and their story of like they first began as a very simple, just like they bought the food themselves and delivered themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were lucky to have some really inspiring stories from seeing other companies similar to what we were doing. One specifically was a company in Shanghai that was called Sherpas. We saw what they did, and it was, really a true inspiration for us to apply the same thing in Seoul, because at the end of the day, we figured people are people. Who wouldn't want, the convenience of having different types of foods delivered to their homes? Just no one really was doing that at the time.
And you guys are kind of right now focusing more on like for expats. It's the number one delivery platform for expats in South Korea. And I also heard that you guys focus on like higher end or more like so you guys really make sure the restaurant is good and it's not just like 500 different kebab shops. It's like you're trying to find like the good ones that you can trust.
Absolutely. You said that perfectly. Our, a lot of our learning was that here in Korea, we had I guess, somewhat of a first mover advantage in terms of the type of solution we were providing, which was trying to provide delivery for these restaurants that didn't have a delivery solution in place before us. And so, we focus a lot of our energy on foreign food and authentic cuisines from different countries. But, the Korean delivery apps, they also saw the value in doing that. And eventually they started doing the exact same thing. And unfortunately for us, we didn't have the budget or the marketing push that they had to actually get Koreans to engage with their product. But luckily for us, we did have a dedicated fan base of the foreign community that supported us and continued to support us throughout the COVID period. And so what we saw during the COVID period was, we had to be honest and realistic about the fact that the foreign community was our true supporter. And so we really went further into that lane. And it's been great. People have been so kind and supportive of our business. And it's a big reason why we continue to be thoughtful of what we put on our platform, because, people trust us that we're going to put the good restaurants on our platform and try not to just load it up with a bunch of, random spots that kind of just have the same stuff. Like you said, why would we want to have 500 of the same types of shops, like kebab shops? So yeah, I agree. I think that's become quite clear for us, actually.
Do you believe that that foreign expat audience itself is the main advantage you have, compared to other Korean food delivery shops?
I would say advantage. Maybe you wouldn't say that it's an advantage, being that the foreign market is smaller than the Korean market. Obviously, it's in Korea. I think that we have been fortunate enough to where we add true value to the foreign community, and so because of that, they've continued to support us, and they do a lot of the marketing on our behalf, and so in that way, it is an advantage because we don't have to spend nearly as much on marketing. We just have to do a good enough job so that people actually see the value in what we're doing. And so in that way, it has been an advantage because marketing can be quite costly. So,
And your story kind of seems similar to like, I don't know what your thoughts on Elon Musk is, but Elon Musk has always never really focused on marketing. He just focuses on the product being good, honest, and just making it as good as it can so that other people are the marketers themselves.
absolutely, very, very good point. I think that's exactly what we've tried to do. When people come up to me, they say, "Oh man, like my friend told me about Shuttle," or "Oh, I had some classmates who told me about Shuttle," or "Actually, my company onboarded us and said, why don't you download this Shuttle app?" And for us, that's really important because at the end of the day, if we build a great product, people will continue to keep to support us. And to me, that's what it really comes down to. And I think that's been our whole. If we look back at our company's growth, and even if you speak to some of our employees there, we always say there's one word that kind of embodies what it is at Shuttle that's important to us. We always use the word empathy. And to me, empathy kind of goes back to the idea that you just said about doing a good enough job to make people feel like they're getting their value from using your product or service. So we always try to put ourselves in the shoes of the customer. And if we truly believe, okay, we did a good enough job to get paid, then that means that the customers will continue to use us.
On the COVID part, you said it was pretty tough, and also just while working on this delivery business, it must have, because when you first began, like you said, you talked to schools and you also had to drive yourself. I saw a picture of you smiling up I think it was maybe Gyeongnidan, or I forgot what street it was, just smiling with other three guys on the motorcycle. But it must have been pretty tough. And where do you like find your because this is a question that was actually given by Lex Friedman to Elon Musk, and I like what he does in terms of the Tesla and SpaceX. And he says, where is your source of strength?
Where's your source of strength? I think the fact that we, again, and this might sound cheesy, but it does feel good that we felt like we were really adding value to people's lives, especially during that COVID period. When that was going on, it was scary for everyone, including us. So when we were trying to lead the team and really make them believe, like, okay, we're really helping people. Like, people need to stay indoors, especially back at that time. We didn't know the whole story. So to get our drivers to buy in and go ahead and commit to helping these restaurants that were suffering at the time, and then the customers who, again, a lot of them just didn't know what was going to happen next, so they were trying to stay indoors, and being able to support them, and also trying to make sure our employees were safe. That was an interesting time as a leader, and making sure that we did the right thing, because you never know if you're going to do the right thing. You always kind of have some doubt there, but when you're in it and you see, and then especially if you look back and like, wow, okay, we provided a good amount of value there.
So it's about the care you have for your customers, but also the people who work for you, right?
Yeah, I mean, we always say at Shuttle that we have three customers. We have the actual customer who's consuming the food. We have the restaurant who obviously has to produce the food, because we don't make any food ourselves, and the driver who's delivering. And we of course want to consider our teammates, the people who are actually making sure that everything, we always say it's like a dance to make sure that the customer gets his food, and they don't know how much stuff goes into it. It should just seem like it was effortless, And so a lot of that comes down to our team being able to handle that properly. So yeah, satisfying those customers. That's kind of what it boils down to. If we feel like we've satisfied all of those different parties involved, then it feels like, all right, we're doing the right thing.
And was that the mission from the start, when you let's just go back like long time ago, once upon a time, whenever you decide to kind of start, not necessarily this business, but like entrepreneurship in general, was that kind of your goal when you first began?
I think I always approach business from the standpoint of what they call like white space. White space meaning like, does the market need this? The market is always the final, decision maker. People will say, oh, well, they don't know this is good. They just don't know that it's good. Everybody who's ever done business knows that the market is the true decider if something should exist or not. So when every entrepreneurial journey I've been on, I think I tried to let myself be led by the market. And so when we did Shuttle, it was trying to fill some white space, trying to understand that should people have the ability to get different types of foods delivered to their house? Should there be a service that does it in the English language? Does the market need this? Same goes with anything else I've done throughout my careers. Does the market need it? That's kind of how I tried to lead.
Interesting. So I recall that after you became an English teacher, right? You went back to do your MBA and came back, and then you sort of had this like glass ceiling opportunity, right? So what did you get into initially?
Yeah. So, as a lot of people who come to Korea, I think they realize that it is tricky to move up to do other things or have other responsibilities when you're here to teach English. Now, I have had friends who've really accomplished a lot in that lane, and things are changing tremendously, actually, in Korea in comparison to when I first got here. But at that time, yeah, I did see that there was like a glass ceiling, so to speak, that I really couldn't, reach my full potential of what I wanted to accomplish. And so I did go back to do my MBA. And at that time, I wasn't clear on what I wanted to do, but I knew I needed to do business because I had a finance degree. I had an MBA. So I needed to do something probably in business. So it wasn't quite clear. And so I tested a few things. And again, going back to the whole white space thing. So one thing that I noticed from being in the market was there were opportunities in event planning and party promotion. So my first entry into kind of doing my own business was doing some event planning, some party promotions. I realized that at the time, Korea didn't have a market for these kind of smaller level celebrities, meaning like DJs, artists who weren't, filling arenas. Maybe they could fill a club, but they at that time it didn't really exist to have international acts who would come to Korea who weren't, Mariah Carey or some big name artists who could fill an arena. So I saw that as maybe an opportunity for a chance to try some business for myself. And so luckily it went pretty well, and that led me to try to fill white space in other ways. So
Yeah. This is a short video we had. So I think the 15 or 20 minute kind of time we set is kind of off. So before we go, what are the three main, I guess, not necessarily advices, but just cool things or something you'd like to just share about the world, advices or just something short?
um, I I don't know. It's tricky to say really what everyone should be doing with their life. At the end of the day, I think the journey is always important if you just kind of stay curious. Stay curious about yourself, especially in entrepreneurship. I think my biggest superpower, and I would recommend it to anybody, is just try your best to be introspective. Truly know yourself. Truly try to understand yourself, because that'll kind of let you know what you need to double down on. I'm a big believer in everything can't be your strength. You just can't. No one's a superhero. Some things are gonna be more of a natural fit for you than others. Some people are really good at communication. Some people are really good at numbers. Some people are really good at being able to make a connection with people. At the end of the day, they all have value. So it's important to truly know yourself and be introspective and not focus on the things that you don't do well, but focus on the things you do very well and just double down, triple down, quadruple down. That's kind of been my strategy up to this point. So,
All right. This was Jacob Boutte.
Jason
Boutte.
Yeah, Jason Boutte, yeah. Oh,
Well,
it was great meeting you.
pleasure to meet you guys. Thanks for having me. Yeah, like I